Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Sector for Nerds. I'm Ryan Brower, and today I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But first up, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. If this is your first time here, hi, hello, welcome to my channel.
Hello there.
We've got plenty of great content for you here on this channel, mainly Star Wars content, but I also cover Marvel stuff as well. So I highly recommend you guys subscribe to my channel and also to head over to my second YouTube channel called Top 10 Character Moments. And that's a channel where we pretty much can talk about anything and everything when it comes to characters from different franchises. I like to break down like my favorite characters' best moments and why I like them so much. So I highly recommend you guys check out all that content. It's free and it really helps support me as a content creator. Thanks, guys. All right, y'all, I am ready to talk about this movie. Now, admittedly, I didn't plan on making a video for Across the Spider-Verse, and just because there's a lot of movies coming up, and I don't plan on seeing them right away, and it's like, all right, are these movies gonna be, I'm sure they'll be good, but are they gonna be like that good? Me and my brother have also been going to see movies on Tuesdays now, just because it's $5 Tuesday. Well, it's not even $5 Tuesdays anymore, but it's still like cheaper to go see movies on Tuesday than any other day of the week. So unless it's like a really big movie that we cannot wait for, we'll go see it the day of. But with a lot of the movies that are coming up, we're just trying to go on Tuesdays to save us some money, you know? And somehow I managed to avoid spoilers for this movie, so thank goodness. Now, if you guys saw my community post just last night, I had posted about the Spider-Man movie, how I went to go see it. I wanted to make a video about it, and how, for some of you that might know me best, I don't know if I've ever really brought it up much here on the channel before, maybe in like a couple Marvel videos, but I miss being hyped for a movie the way I felt hyped for Avengers Endgame. Like when I saw Infinity War and was like, oh my gosh, this was a dark and crazy movie. And the fact that there was going to be this follow-up a year later, it's like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen? You start coming up with all these theories. You keep watching Infinity War over and over to look for certain things. And you come up with all these, you know, predictions and things that you might want to happen in the next movie. And then you have that year of just anticipation and that movie being like the only thing on your mind and getting lost in a universe and being invested in it and waiting to see what the outcome is. And then to get that outcome and being like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest Marvel movie ever. I'm so completely satisfied with what they did. I absolutely love the movie. It's something that I've never felt before. And it's like ever since that movie, ever since that time period, I've talked about how I've missed that feeling. Like not even a Star Wars movie, not even a Star Wars movie has gotten me that hyped for something. And I love Star Wars. Star Wars is my bread and butter. But a lot of their newer movies, like they've definitely had hype, but like it's so hard to explain, you guys, but it's just like it's this phenomenon, this thing that I've just never felt before. And it was amazing. And as of last night, after watching Across the Spider-Verse, I have officially gotten that feeling back, and it feels so good. I should probably let you guys know that there will be spoilers in this video as well, so if you haven't seen the movie, then I would recommend leaving this video and then coming to check it out once you've seen it. Now, I feel like I will have put it in the title too, so between the title and me telling you right now, you have now officially been warned on multiple occasions. Now, the reason I feel this hype now again is because we have a new Spider-Verse movie coming next year. I think in March or something like that, the end of March. So what, we only have to wait like, what, 9-10 months for that movie? And this movie, you guys, Across the Spider-Verse, was so good. I loved the characters. I loved the story. I loved the action. I loved the memes. I loved all the comedic moments. It was a perfect movie for me. And because this movie left off on a to be continued and been like, all right, next year we got another one coming, it's like, okay, because of how good this movie was, it has given me that feeling back that I have not felt since the year of Infinity War and Endgame. There were several points at the end of that movie, like towards the final like 15 minutes of that movie, where they played like end of movie intense to be continued type music like 3 times. And I'm like, they're not about to leave this on a to be continued. No, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. And then they did it. I'm like, no, you can't do this. It's like, I want to see the next movie now. Like, and that's why, and that's what I said, you guys, that feeling of just like, of waiting for something that you just cannot wait for. I want to see how this story continues or how it concludes. I don't know if there's going to be any more Spider-Verse movies past this third movie. I mean, maybe they leave it off on a trilogy, but I cannot wait to see how it continues and how it plays out. I'm so invested in the character of Miles Morales, and I think I just let out some spit too there. I don't know if I caught that on camera or not. I love Miles Morales. I love Gwen Stacy. I love Peter Parker. I love Spider-Man. The beginning of the movie was cool because it was like we get to see Gwen's story play out, right? And then for the first, like, what, 15, 20 minutes? And then we get some of Miles's story for the next 15, 20 minutes, and then it's about the two of them coming together. Now, I did go back and watch the first Spider-Verse movie a couple days before I went and saw this movie, just because it had been a couple years since I seen it. I wanted to get my mind refreshed on it. And that was another movie that I really enjoyed as well. But like, the end of that movie is Miles sitting in his bed, and then, you know, him looking up and you hear Gwen's voice saying like, you got a few minutes or whatever. And here it's like they kind of show what happens before that time comes, and then they get to that point and it's like the two of them hanging out. But I really got invested with Miles in this movie. He has this internal struggle, right? It's like he has this second life of being Spider-Man, but he can't tell his parents about it, and his parents think like he's going through that teenage phase, you know what I'm saying, where it's all like him causing trouble, partying, you know, whatever the case may be. And it's like he wants to tell them, but he knows, like, what do I do? Do I get accepted? Do I get rejected? Like, what happens? And that's why I think he gets along with Gwen so much. I mean, of course he likes her, but I mean, in just in the sense too that they both have an understanding of each other because they both understand what it's like to be Spider-Man and what it's like to have to deal with all of the trials and tribulations that come with that. But I think, you know, the whole trials and tribulations thing is just kind of what comes with Spider-Man, right? Like, Spider-Man has to lose someone. That's always been the Spider-Man way. But then you had like Oscar Isaac's Spider-Man, who just like, the moment you looked at him, I just kind of knew he was going to be a bad guy. Actually, before we get into him, I want to get into Spot as well real quickly. Credit to this movie, because Spot looked like a villain that was just going to be like, oh, the opening villain that you catch at the start of the movie, right? Like, what's it like with Batman the Dark Knight, right? Like, you start out with Batman going after Scarecrow. That very much felt like what this was going to be. But credit to the movie, because they took what was thought to be like, oh, just like a small part of the movie, a small villain that you go after before you go after the main villain. And Spot almost pretty much became that main villain. So credit to them. But going back to Oscar Isaac and his character's arc in this movie, and to me, it felt like one of those things, right? Either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I think that's exactly what happened to his character in this movie. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that he or Gwen or any of them were wrong about, like, look, this is bound to happen. You can't change it. But what I don't agree with is the idea of, okay, well, because we know this is going to happen, we're just going to hold you as a freaking prisoner until it happens. That's not fair to Miles to not be able to go and try and defend his family and try to protect them and stop them from the danger that is to come. So that's why I was just sitting there like rooting for Miles the whole time. It's like, man, like, let him get back. Let him save his father. Let him protect his family. Let him do what he needs to do. Like, it was to the point where I did get mad at Gwen for going along with that. And I love Gwen in this movie, but when she started going along with what everybody else was doing, like when all those Spider-Men came into the room, I'm like, all right, what is going on here? There's way too many of them. What's about to happen? I liked the moment when all of them are chasing them and Gwen webs Miles, right? But Miles kind of looks at her and removes the web, and as he's falling, he just kind of like shakes his head at her like, you betrayed me, you know? And Peter kind of did the same thing as well, right? Like, he had the tracker on him. But I guess the big thing that we learn about Miles in this movie is that he himself wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man. The spider that bit him was from a different universe, and it came to that universe and bit Miles, which is why we see the other universe that doesn't have a Spider-Man. And the way that they ended that movie too, there were so many moments of like plot twists and stuff, right? Because at first you see Miles talking with his mother, but you also see Gwen in the same room, and I'm like, wait, they're in the same room, but like, why? What's going on here? And I'm like, Oh no, they sent Miles to the wrong universe. Because sure enough, like he's pouring his heart out to his mother. It was such an emotional scene. And she kind of is just like, who is Spider-Man? And blah, 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 blah. And it's because that was the universe that didn't have a Spider-Man. And then you've got Miles' uncle that comes into the fray, and he ends up, eventually he figures out that this isn't the Miles that he knows. But my dumbass was sitting there like, oh, what is this? Like, what's going on here? And then when he says, oh, I'm not the Prowler, and I'm like, well, who is the Prowler? And then I saw the person, and I saw like their figure, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I looked at my brother, I'm like, dude, look at who's under there. I'm like, oh my gosh, no way, it's another Miles. And sure enough, right, like, because he made the comment about his dreads or whatever, right? And I didn't pick up on that right away, but like, obviously after I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's what he meant. So that was such a good plot twist, and that was sort of the way the movie ended, right, with that cliffhanger. And then you see Gwen recruiting people, right, to go and help her. She gets Peter back. She gets all of the people from the first movie back, which I was so glad to see them all again, which means they're gonna all have a role in the third movie, right? Like you've got the black and white Spider-Man, you've got the pig Spider-Man, you've got all those guys, the girl with the robot. I love that. Like I said, you guys, for that 2 hours or however long that movie was, I was just lost in that world. And that's the stuff that I live for. Because, and I've said this before, I think I said it in the Guardians 3 video as well, but the world can be a shitty place. Everyone goes through their own crap, and it's like, this is what drives me. This is what keeps me going, is these stories and these characters and just being lost in a universe and escaping to one and feeling like you're a part of it in a weird way. I know I'm getting a little emotional about it, but like I love this kind of stuff. It's why I made this channel. I love talking about good stories and good characters and things that I just absolutely fallen in love with. And I have fallen in love with this Spider-Verse. I can't wait for the third movie. And man, I don't know how they're going to end it, right? Because one of the things I had said was to my brother was me sort of thinking about, well, if this is going to be like Infinity War and Endgame, then if Endgame is the next style of movie that we get for this, then I wouldn't be surprised if we see like all of the Spider-Men come together to fight, like, I don't know, maybe like this other Spider-Man, right? Like the Oscar Isaac Spider-Man, like ultimately does become a bad guy, and he starts recruiting all of these Spider-Man villains from different universes, and then it's all of the Spider-Men come together to aid Miles, to aid Gwen, and there's this ultimate battle to end all battles, you know? I love Miles and Gwen together. I think that Gwen definitely has some work to do to make up for, I mean, obviously she kind of always had that gut feeling like what we're doing is wrong, because obviously she cares about Miles, but I think she's definitely got to make sure, like, all right, we got to go get Miles, I've got to apologize for stuff, and we got to make this right. I love the scene where she spoke with his parents as well. And I think it was the rock star Spider-Man that left the band for her, like, so she could go and time travel again, or not time travel, but like dimension travel. The line where Gwen says, I thought we were supposed to be the good guys. I think that's gonna like really sink in with a lot of the Spider-Men and women that are there. And that's what I believe is ultimately going to cause them all to come together and help Miles. Yeah, you guys, I don't think I have much more to say about this movie other than just keep repeating myself over and over about how much I love this movie. Good job to everybody at Sony. Good job to all the cast and crew that worked on this. All the animators, amazing job. Usually when two movies come out like 1 year and then the next year, at least in like certain situations, right? Like with Infinity War and Endgame, I think Pirates 2 and 3 did it as well, where they filmed the movies back to back. So I wouldn't be surprised if they already have the next movie in the bag ready to go, or at the very least they're in post-production. But yeah, you guys, I'm ready for the next movie, and in like a year's time we'll definitely be coming back and talking about it, and hopefully talking about how good it is. And originally I was gonna do a Miles Morales top 10 character moments video in like a month or two time, but I think I've decided that we're gonna postpone that until we get the third movie, until we get the conclusion to this story, so we can get all of Miles Morales' best moments from this trilogy. And we'll do it with Gwen Stacy as well, you guys. And Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I cannot stress enough how good it is. As much as it's difficult for me to explain it, you guys, just know just how excited and happy I am to have this back. All right, you guys, we'll wrap up now officially. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.